Right now, let's check in via Zoom with our good friend Curt Lawson from the West Bloomfield Police Department. And Officer Lawson, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the MegaCast.
Good morning, Dave. You're looking great today.
Well, thank you. You are too. I got a different view in your office. What are all those plaques on the wall right behind you?
We're changing some things around,
Yeah.
Just a little different background for you.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. So the big news today, obviously, we are trying to get back to work. So we'll hear from the governor at 3 o'clock to what that looks like here in the state of Michigan. Testing, we've heard over the weekend from all of the national news media. That's the big issue. But we have more testing in Michigan, and that is really good news. And you'll be happy to hear in about 10 minutes that first responders, even if they're asymptomatic, can now get tested. And if you have any symptoms, you don't need an appointment to get tested in Oakland County anymore. That, my friends, is a huge accomplishment. And Curt Lawson, I can't imagine that isn't going to be that's got to be very helpful.
Well, it's certainly important to us. And as you know, at the beginning of all this, when I wasn't feeling well, it took over a week to get the test results back. So it's nice to hear that we're ramping up testing all over Oakland County. And, that's one of the first steps, I think, that is going to help us get back to some sort of normalcy as we move forward, because we got to have that testing in place. And I can tell you one thing for sure is that I can see all around the community, people are ready for this to be coming to an end. So it's very important over the next month or two that the government, both local, state, and federal, very carefully lays out a plan and how we can get back to work and do so in a safe manner.
From a law enforcement perspective, Officer Lawson, how are things going in West Bloomfield? And I know you're on a conference call with other law enforcement officials across the county. How are we doing countywide and right in West Bloomfield?
From a law enforcement standpoint, we're doing just fine. We have not seen an increase in call numbers over the last month. Actually, we have seen a decrease. The only thing, two sections of run volume that we've seen increase have been to our golf courses. And we've also seen an increase for family troubles. But that's just been a slight increase. Nothing that's been overwhelming, certainly to us.
Well, and we've been hearing that from other law enforcement and other reports from law enforcement across our state, across the country. You take people and they spend an awful lot of time at home, and it's unfortunate, but the domestic violence issues, I guess, are not any real surprise, and I know you anticipated that. On the golf courses, people want to get out and golf. It was nice, again, yesterday afternoon. Are people golfing in your area? Are you having to remind people that can't do that right now?
So we are reminding people that here in West Bloomfield that we are telling people that is our interpretation of governor's orders that they cannot go out on a public or private golf course. Now, I did just send out an email to the Attorney General's office about half an hour ago, pleading with them for some clarification, because we've been getting some mixed messages. The governor came out about a week and a half ago and said that, no, you cannot golf on a private golf course, even though you have a membership. The Attorney General's office, we had a spokesperson that kind of muddied those waters last weekend in a Free Press article. And now we're seeing around Michigan, different counties having different rules or different interpretations. So we need some clarification on that. And I'd like to see some more clarification on the voting rules and some of the other gray areas that we're seeing. So maybe today at 3 o'clock when the governor does her discussion with the media, that she can clarify a few things for us. Yeah,
I would hope that would happen. And certainly it's pretty clear, I think, that she doesn't want people golfing. Maybe it wasn't written correctly. Maybe the AG didn't interpret it. Certainly, a lot of people are wondering. They're kind of scratching their head going, well, what's the difference if I go for a walk or I golf? I get that. And then some communities have said, we're just not going to enforce this. I know some sheriff offices around the state. I assume your position here in West Bloomfield is, and other law enforcement is primarily just reminding people when they see them doing something that you guys understand at this point in time is not allowed, with the understanding that people may not have a clear idea, just like you may not have a clear idea what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Right. We're just doing our best to educate people on the interpretation that we have. Now, certainly we work with our local attorneys here. We work with the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office to make sure that we're interpreting those rules or those executive orders correctly.
your people are out in the community as much as anyone else. How are they doing? Do you have many people that had to take time off? Have you had anybody that recently that's been testing positive, or how's all that going, Curt Lawson?
Well, as far as the police department, we've been very healthy, and we have so many different protocols in place that I think that's helped from day one to keep everyone healthy. Overall, the fire department's been very healthy. Their run volume has been significantly increased through this whole crisis, but they've done an outstanding job keeping their team members healthy, using those personal protection equipment that they have. We have a very good supply at this time, and keeping those protocols in place, not only from day one, but as we move forward, is gonna keep our people happy and healthy, and be able to help our residents.
All right. Anything else, Curt Lawson, that might be a benefit to folks tuning in today that we don't know?
Well, certainly, I think the next 2 weeks is extremely important, and people they're ready to get out of their house. They're ready to go for walks and go to the parks and enjoy the nicer weather we're probably going to have over the next 2-3 weeks. But they have to keep that social distancing. They have to keep that hygiene. That is just so important. And if you're out, wear those face coverings, wear those face masks. We really believe that's important, and that's going to get us through the next 2 or 3 weeks, so we can hopefully see the state government, the federal government starting to bring things back so we can get back to work.
I look like John Wayne with my bandana on. You know, it's a good look for me when I go into the store with a bandana. I could have done the mask, but the bandana just makes me feel kind of tough. I always wanted to go into a store with a bandana. So that's my look. But, you do whatever you can do, right, Curt Lawson?
Absolutely.
All
Keep
right.
yourself safe. You're very important. You're doing a great job. And we
Thank
appreciate
you. Thank you very much. You too. Appreciate your time this morning. He is Curt Lawson of the West Bloomfield Police Department.